Hi, I'm Jason, and today we're going to put together a rucRak Sergeant or a rucRak Gunny. The Gunny is the swing arm, the Sergeant's the static mount. They both assemble the exact same way. You'll see that these nutserts here have the same nutserts here. So we're going to do the Gunny. So what you're going to find inside your package are two hardware kits. One of them is for the static or swing arm mounting hardware, and one of them is for the actual rucRak itself. Tools you're going to need: a 1/2 inch wrench, a 9/16 wrench, and I do provide you with some hex keys in here in case you don't have these Allen socket heads. So this is a 3/16 and a 7/32 Allen socket, and I'm going to use those just for because it's a little quicker. And then of course your favorite, I'm working on stuffed beverage. So since this is a universal product and we just take the same product and mount it on different mounting studs or mounting places, a lot of these products are gonna have stuff on it for other vehicles. So the first thing you want to do is you're gonna go find in your kit the long legs, okay, what we call the mounting plate, the cover plate, and then the flagpole or umbrella holder, and then part number 204 and part number 216 and part number 205 out of your rucRak hardware kit. So what we're going to do is spread these out, and you see these this indentation. This is for mounting it on a Wrangler or a Bronco. We're going to not do that. But what you want to do is spread these out here. You're going to put this in. There's 3 holes up and down, and we're going to pick the middle hole here and here, and we're going to make sure that U shape is towards you. And then we're going to take part number 204 and just get it in there, just started. Don't tighten it down yet. And then you're going to have 2 uprights now. I'm putting together kind of a used system just to show you how to do this. So you're going to see some of these U channels in here. Yours will be black, they'll be powder coated. But you want to see the end with the top hole in it here. I'm going to get out part number 207. And part number 204 again. The 207 is the washer. I'm going to put a washer over that and put that in the bottom hole here. And we're going to kind of finger tighten that. And the same thing with the other side here. We'll just put this washer on part number 204. And then we're going to finger tighten that. We don't want to tighten these up quite yet, but just kind of get them a little snug so they got a little room here. And make sure you're going to run your fingers on the outside edge of this mounting plate here against this square tube, and make sure it's kind of flush. And then we're just going to finger tighten it down for now. Okay, So then we're going to flip this over here. We're going to get our flagpole, and it will take part number 216. I'm going to put those right here. Now these will mount to the basket for fishing rod holders, but we're going to create an umbrella holder here, or a flagpole holder here. So you're just going to run those bolts through there, slide them down in those. You can mount it on either side, or if you ordered some extra ones, you're going to mount them on both sides. And then you can take part number 205, which is the nut, and then you can get those started. And you can go ahead and tighten those down. Now, you don't need to crank down on this flagpole. It's aluminum. You will bend it. There's no need to go He-Man on it. It takes a 1/2 inch wrench back here. This all looks kind of wonky right now, but it'll all come together, I promise. Tighten those two down. Just good and snug. Alright, and if you have another one, you put it on the other side. But that flagpole holder, umbrella holder, kind of lives in that pocket right there. And now, you can take this plate. Now, this plate has several functions, but for this function, makes this plate a little more rigid here. So, we're going to find part number 203. And we're going to stick that down in there. And that one over here. And then we're just going to tighten those down. And you can go ahead and tighten these too. And now we're going to put this aside for a minute. And we're going to get to this. Okay, for the next step, you're gonna find the little box that has this hitch stabilizer in there, and just drop the U shape down, and this little bend right here needs to go up, and then you're gonna put flat washer, lock washer, nut, flat washer, lock washer, nut. And then you're going to drop this down over top of this with the bend towards the gunny. Alright, and then we're just going to go ahead and install this in our hitch. Okay, as you see, we've got our hitch pin in. Now this thing is adjustable. It's got 4 or 5 holes in it. You can adjust it in and out, so adjust it to your taste. And then we're going to tighten this down. Now, what this is for, you see that right there? We're going to take that out of it. So we're just going to twist this up. And we're going to take our 9/16 and we're going to tighten the crap out of it. And I want to kind of tighten it even, so we're going to do a turn per side until it's pretty good and tight. And now, see, you've taken all that out of it. The next thing you want to do is get out what we're calling the Z-bar brackets. and your swing arm mounting hardware kit. You're going to need some bolts out of there, and the first ones you're going to need are the 219 and the yeah. My camera woman is arguing with me. I've only put together 8,000 of these. You're going to want part number 219 and part number 222, which is the washer for that. So we're going to take this Z-bar bracket and see how that bends over. We're going to put it on the back side so that those two holes line up, and then that top hole lines up with the nutsert in the top. And you're going to hold your tongue just right and push it through there. And you're going to take, this is part number 219 and 222, which is the washer. Put those through there. And then you're going to want to go dig for part number 203. And part number 203 goes on the top there. And let's do that on both sides. Now you don't want to tighten any of this up yet. .219 and 222 through the front side, through the back. All right. And we can actually snug this one up just a little bit with the 3/16. Just snug, you don't want it tight yet, because we're going to tighten all this down at one time, and there's a sequence to it. All right, cut. Okay, now remember all of this wonky stuff right here, it's all getting ready to come together. Now, what you're going to want to do is push that bolt, the outside bolt here, back out just a little bit. And we're going to slide this down in here, but you see how I'm sliding it? With the channel to the outside of this upright here. All right, and then we can go and get part number 217 and part number 207, which is the flat washer. And you can do this before you put yourself in this predicament. 207 and 217, and you're going to want to put that bolt right through there. And you might have to jiggle it and hold your mouth right. And you may even have to screw it in because the tolerances here are really, really tight. So now you can push this bolt through there and take your part number 222 washer and then 221, the nut, and secure it. But we're not tightening down any of this. And then you can take the 207 washer, put it here, and the 205 nut goes here. None of this is tightening it up. And then we're going to take part number 220. We're going to put a 222 washer on it, and we're going to feed it right in this hole. And you really have to keep your wits about you there because all of the tolerances are very tight on this stuff. So you may have to screw it in like that. And of course it gets a 222 on the back side and a 221 nut. And all of this is just hand tight at this point. So we're going to put another washer here and another nut here. Okay. Oh, and I forgot. Do this for both sides. Once you get one side done, go over to the other side and do the exact same thing. So now is where we start tightening all of this stuff down. And so the first thing we want to do, we can swing this out here, is we're going to want to tighten these four down. Now remember, we're going to make sure that this is good and flush on the side here. And we're going to give that a good turn. And we want it good and tight. And we're going to do that on both sides. Alright. And then we're going to go down here and tighten these. Okay. And then we're going to tighten these. Do side at a time here. Okay. Then we're going to go up to the next size Allen, the 7/32, and we're going to tighten the top ones, which the 9/16 here, and then we're going to tighten the outside one here, and then we're going to tighten the inside one. And then we're going to repeat that process on the other side. The next thing we're going to do is put the upper table, upper basket together, which is this piece. And you're going to want to find in your kit the table legs and part number 204 and 205. Now, these are side concentric. So what you want to do is you want to find the side that lines up with the two holes in there, and so that leg dips down. You got your two holes here, and the legs dip down here. Okay, and then you're going to want to put the bolts in the top side here, and the nuts on the opposite side here. And when you're tightening them, you want to keep this leg right here. You want to keep this gap really tight right here so it won't fit. So keep this gap right here really tight as you're tightening it up. So we're going to take a 1/2 inch wrench, and then our Allen key or Allen socket that I'm using. Am I using the wrong? Yeah. Need to switch those out. So like I said, I put my thumb right there and tighten it down so that I know I'm keeping that table leg really good and tight. Tighten it down there. And let's do the other one. And you're going to do that for both sides. Okay, now that the table legs are installed and the bolts are going through the front side like that, you can see rucRak there. Get out part number 215, which are the quick release pins, and meet me back here. I almost forgot. You need part number 215, which are the studded knobs. So, as you see right here, there are 4 holes right here. Okay, that's for you to be able to adjust this table up and down. So one hole is the hinge hole and one hole is the stop hole. In ride position, the top hole is the one you're looking for. So let's get out 2 of these pins here. And we're going to line this up. And it may be a little tight, which is not a bad thing. And we're going to line that hole up right there. Put a pin through it. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, you can now put both knobs in to stow this table away upright. And then put this pin in right here to store it, because that's what's going to hold the table when you fold it down. So let me show you here. Pull this pin, fold the table down, boom, put it on the other side, boom, and now that table is ready to go. Now, you can move this whole operation down 3 inches if you want the table lower, if you're cooking or whatever, or you can actually mount this thing backwards. Let me show you how that goes. So we're going to pull this, I'm going to pull it off of here. Now if you're in a situation where you want this table to fold inward, that goes in the same holes, and or you can mount it like this and it can stow away like this, and you can close it up the other way. So it gives you a little bit of versatility here. Okay, now the next part you're going to need are what we're calling our horizontal pipe, our hinge gussets, and our hinge plate. So this operation is vital to the function of the basket that flips over, and if you don't follow every single step perfectly, it will not function correctly, so please pay attention. We have part numbers 217, 206, 207, and 205. All right? So you're going to want to take part number 217. And you're going to put a flat washer on it. Now, what people don't know is a flat washer is side concentric. So that shiny side right there goes towards the bolt, and the little dull side goes towards the inside, because this little flat washer has just a tiny little lip on it to catch, to make sure that it stays in place. So we're going to do that 4 times. 1, then we're going to put part number 206, the little nylon washer, on the inside there. And then we're going to put the side without the cap on it. I'm going to slide that on here towards like that. Alright, and then we're going to put 2 more of those nylon washers on it. And then we're going to put the gusset on it. And then we're going to put 2 more flat washers on it. And then we're going to put 205 lock nut on it. And we're going to do that for both sides. Now we can tighten that up. We're going to want it pretty good and tight. Now, okay, now we can put on our hinge triangles, and we're going to take that same part number 217, and we're going to feed it through there. But we're going to do something a little crazy here. Let's attach your part number 211, which is the 1/4 inch pin, to the lanyard, which is part number 212. Okay, and then we're just going to kind of loop that lanyard around the head of the bolt and put the washer on the back side of it. We're going to feed it through this bottom hole of this triangle here, and then we're going to put a nylon washer through it, and then we're going to put that through this middle hole here in what we're calling that vertical pipe, and it's going to get a flat washer and a lock nut. Now, what I like to do in this step is to put my pin in right here in the front to kind of hold all this together while I tighten it, because this is kind of a delicate operation here, because you're going to want to kind of hold this up while you're tightening it to orient the pin correctly. Now, you want this snug, but you do not want to over tighten it, because this is what allows the basket to flip over and go into the stowed away position. So you don't want to wrench down on it real tight. Just good and snug. Pull the pin out of it. If you can turn it with some resistance, then you got it. Okay? So we're going to do that on the other side here too. There. Okay. So everybody should have gotten one of these decal kits, and now is a good time to put your orientation bike gear home decals on the triangle here. I'm going to use this one since I've already used this one. And so this is actually in the bike position right now with this folded down and this flat against the table. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this out. I'm going to pull this pin out right here. I'm going to take that hole and put it right here. And now you have actually the home position. Home position goes up like that. And then this position, the gear position actually goes upside down because when you flip it back over, it will orient itself correctly. Okay, and now we're going to do that on the other side. Now, for the next step, we're going to mount this to the uprights, and we're shooting for that bottom hole. We're going to line these holes up with this, and the tolerances are real tight, so it may take a little finagling here. That's why I got down on the ground with it so I can see. And goes right through there. And this is part number 217. And the flat washer on both ends. There you go. And now we get flat washer on both sides of there. And then we get the 205 nut right here. Now, this is another spot where it needs to be tight, but you don't need to crank down on it because you're going to want this, because you're going to want this to be able to freely move. So what I like to do is tighten it down just so where the end of that bolt comes through the lock washer, and it's just kind of snug. And if it's poking out of the end of that lock washer right there, then you're good. And so maintenance wise, you're gonna want to check these every, depending on usage, every couple of months. If it's heavy usage, maybe more. Check these and these, make sure everything's good. But now we're going to turn these over like this so we can mount the basket. Okay, now if you have a ruck wagon kit, skip to the ruck wagon installation guide now, and it'll take you through the rest of the process. If you do not, we can continue. So you'll see that these 4 holes right here and the bottom here are threaded, and we're going to put part number 208 in those threaded holes, and this is where you'll need your bigger hex key, the 7/32 hex key. But I'm going to use my socket here, and we're just going to put these, we're going to thread these in these holes. And it's kind of fiddly, so don't cross thread it. And you want to get this good and snug, but don't over tighten it. This is aluminum, and you will strip the threads, and then you're screwed. We're going to do that on all 4 of these holes. Now that we have all 4 of those in, we're just going to drop all 4 of these in those holes in those triangles right there. And it may take a little bit of finagling to get in there to start with. And then bam, it's in there. And then you're going to take part number 209, and we're going to fasten the basket. Now, the camera hole needs to be at the top here, so don't mount it upside down. And we're just going to take part number 209 and put those on there, and take our 7/32 and our 9/16 and tighten those up good and tight. And we're going to do that at 4 locations. Okay, now that we have all of these bolts tightened, we're going to pull our pins. We're going to roll this up. We're going to put it in the home position by putting the pin in right here on both sides.